Welcome to the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast. I'm Mike Davis.
And I'm Shawn Mills.
And we're here to talk about everything real estate
and the great outdoors
in both Virginia
and North Carolina.
Thanks for tuning in. All right, here we go, folks. Another latest, greatest episode of the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Davis, along with
Shawn Mills.
Yeah, that's still him. And today, we are very pleased and very proud to bring a special guest. We are here at the Virginia Outdoors Sportsman Show up here near Richmond, Virginia. And we are very pleased to bring Tim Andrus from Rush Outdoors TV, a Realtree Ambassador.
That's a great new name now. We were
all right, man. That's great. But Tim, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Appreciate you guys having me here. It's great place.
Tim is one of these guys. I don't know him very well, but we've talked a little bit in the last few months about doing this, and by email, text message, phone call, whatever. Tim has always been very responsive. He's been an absolute pleasure to speak to. Not at all what I expected, to be quite honest.
Well, I don't know how I take that right now.
We're just good old Southern boys. So talking to somebody from New York, we're like, oh, here we go. But
that's the misconception, though. I mean, I live up about 50 minutes from Niagara Falls, and everybody, when you say New York, they think New York City, and I'm 7 hours away, and I'm pretty happy about that. We do, as you mentioned before, we talked in the open of our TV show. You think people, New York, we put that in for a reason, because when I would go to a sports show or for a sponsor, they say we're out of New York, and they're like, New York City? No, not anywhere near it.
Yeah, you think the Midwest guys and the Southeastern guys, that's all the hunting there is. I mean, that's just because you see so much of it. You think that's where it's at, and that's actually one of the reasons Shawn and I wanted to start this podcast, is because we think that Virginia and Carolina is just a completely overlooked area of the country for hunting. And so when the first time I saw your show, I very much related to that, and it just drew me right in. I'm like, I can relate. And what I've seen, New York's got a lot of great things to offer that is not made out of concrete.
For sure.
So tell me a little bit, or tell our listeners a little bit out there, Tim, about the Rush Outdoors. How long have you been doing it?
Well, I started, I got asked to be our season 12 of our regional show. We have two shows. We have Rush Outdoors, which is our regional show that runs Blankets, New York State, Northern Pennsylvania, and Southern Ontario, Canada, on 8 networks. Runs year-round on 8 networks. We run new stuff fourth quarter, remainder of the year is repeats. Then we have a national show called The World of Rush Outdoors. It's on the Pursuit Channel, second quarter. We have a Friday prime time, like at 7:30 or something like that. Sorry, exact time. That's our editor's job, Brian Kirby. Remember that, everybody? And we have the second quarter, we have one, and we have a Monday. Believe it or not, Monday morning, it must be like a retiree crowd. And we in the beginning there, they would say our numbers were really high we had one time slot when we first started on the national, we went to 2. And our Monday mornings are pretty firm, and so we kept it. So Monday, like 9:30 in the morning.
How about that?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, that many seasons says a lot.
Yeah, when they say it's a 5-year hunt, when you get past that 5-year, you're pretty much set. This industry is so fickle these days than what it was when I started. I've been in Realtree for 1996. It was a whole lot different back then. A whole lot different.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We didn't have cell phones back then. We were starting to get into that. We didn't do all the. Heck, I haven't used the only thing I use my laptop for anymore is checking trail cameras. I do my emails, everything on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. It really is.
Social media, I call that the necessary evil. I like it to keep up with people like you guys, with what's going on in the industry, but there's a cost for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. Now, you've been with Realtree since '96.
Yep, 27 years.
27 years. That's awesome. And I know you're probably sick of telling this story. I've heard you tell it a couple times this weekend already. But for our folks out there in digital audio land, tell us how that came about. How do you become a member of Realtree? Because it's probably the dream of every hunter out there.
Back in the early 90s, Realtree had a magazine they put out in the spring and the fall. And it wasn't a real big, thick magazine, but it was like had spring turkey in it, spring bear, maybe some bow fishing. In the fall was deer, elk, whatever, mule deer, antelope. And in the end of the one season, the fall episode or issue, there was a little ad at the bottom that said looking for local pro staff members. Send a resume. And I'm like, how do you send a resume to be a hunter? When I had written an article for a New York magazine that got published, my friend was a hunting consultant. I helped him at a big sports show selling us. And so I filled out wrote it out, got it sent off, and there was no emails, and we had to go mail it. And I got a letter a month later from the girl Ashley was running it, and she said we're overwhelmed with all the people sending in, and we're only picking like 6 or 8 guys. I'm like, well, I'm out. And I come from a small town in Western New York, 1,500 people. So I thought, well, it was fun to try. And then about a month later, I got a box of envelopes that said, congratulations, you're in.
Boom.
It's like getting a lotto.
So yeah, the first 4 years, you didn't get paid. But every spring and every fall, I got big boxes of gloves and hats and shirts and pants, and I was good. And they had a contest every year. The more events you would go to for them, we didn't have all these big box stores back then. You had mom and pop stores and outdoor shows like that you go to. So I'd go there with a VHS tape, believe it or not, with a little TV set that the VHS went in there. And I'd show monster bucks or monster bulls or all-stars of the spring and stand there and smile. And I used to joke around. I was like, hey, hired me to sit there and look pretty. And I kept doing that, and I always got second place every year. Mike Mayfield, if you're listening, he was always got first. We had to be friends. He was like Outdoors pro staffer. They would send a free hunt down on Realtree Farm for turkey. And then one year, they asked me to go to the SHOT Show for a meeting. Being the farm boy I was, thought I had to spend my own money to go to the SHOT Show. And they paid me to go down there, and they asked me to go on the National Pro Sample, they called it back then. And I went on the road for them. Did a lot of events. That was about 2000 I went on the road. Still working my regular full-time job and doing this. And the industry back then was just moving crazy. It was crazy. It was a lot of fun.
So how does that, is it still the same process for younger hunters trying to break in? I mean, obviously it's not snail mail anymore, but is it still the kind of same thing?
It's gotten so busy now. Now they have influencers. They've got everything. I've seen every gamut that's been on TV, from couples hunting together to NASCAR drivers to sports celebrities, even a couple of Hollywood people there. I don't know what the next one's going to be, but I wish I had a crystal ball because it'll be big.
Maybe it'll be a couple of dumb rednecks from Virginia to do a podcast.
There you never know. And so that it makes it. I used to run Realtree before social media, and on Realtree.com they had a forum, and that's what they had. That was their first form of social media, Facebook. So they had a pro staff room, and I ran it. So I'd go in there and talk with people write questions, I'd answer them, and that helped me immensely. And then when I started was, if any of the guys were to hear that were here that were in that club, I started this thing where I did a live hunt where I'd pick like a guy from Virginia, one from Pennsylvania, one from South Dakota, whatever. That was the thing. I said, give me your cell phone number, I'm gonna give you mine. And I was using a flip phone probably back then. And I'd be in Montana, whatever, and I'd text them. I'd say, I'd send text messages from the tree stand, what I'm seeing and what's going on. And then they would go and they'd post it on their phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And it went bonkers. It was one of the best things for me. A lot of fun, and I did my specialty is dental fiber closures. Like I love doing yourself trips.
I was actually going to ask about that. And say, that's great.
I'm sorry, I'll let you know that.
No, you're fine.
You made a mistake letting me talk. That's a great lot.
Well, I get tired of hearing this other guy over here talk, so it's.
So whatever you want, like fire away.
Hey man, I mean, you brought up the do-it-yourself stuff. So tell me about that a little bit. I think there's a lot more involved with that than people think.
Back then we had more. It used to be Saturday mornings. We'd watch on CNN. We'd have a hunt show or fishing show, or maybe on Wide World of Sports. They'd have a hunt thing on there once in a while. We had magazines. Everybody read magazines back then. Outdoor Life, Field to Stream. And in the back of every magazine would be like these outfits, guides out west, like that. And I was, of course, part of the Realtree watching monster bucks. I came from the Milk River, and I wanted to go hunt the Milk River. So back then, I wrote a bunch of letters. Yes, you heard that right. Mailed them all out, or he called. You get a brochure, you open up the brochure, and maybe whatever the price would have been back then, $1,500. Shoot the same whitetail I get in my own backyard. So I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to spend that kind of money. I tell my back then girlfriend or wife, whatever, what it costs, So I'm like, why don't we? I know how to deer. I didn't need a place to go. I don't want to go. I did public one time. I'll never do that again. Because I like him. I'm kind of picky. So I put an ad in the magazine. Or excuse me. I looked on a map before we had Onyx and all that, and I picked an area where like Malta, Montana, or Milford Ranch. Put an ad in the paper there, a little penny saver paper, all over. Spent the money in there, and I put an ad there looking to lease some ground for hunting for a week, blah, blah, blah. The Sears would call me. Well, I made one mistake. I didn't realize the time difference is 2 hours. So when the ranchers would get done doing all their chores and stuff, it'd be like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, it'd be 11 o'clock for me. My phone kept ringing. And 5 guys were leased up. 5 guys didn't want, they have their own family on there. They'd let you, maybe let you both hunt, but not rifle hunt. And a friend of a friend said, hey, I know a guy. You do? Yeah. I called him. Matter of fact, he was my first place I hunted in Montana. And I killed a buck there last year. I went back, I hadn't been there in years because he went to walk in there and found out the walking, he didn't like to walk in there. And when I go to a place, like a do-it-yourself trip, when I get to know the rancher or the farmer, I'm looking for a long-term commitment, like we're going to date or something. I want to have that. I want to go back and get to know the property. I mean, there's a couple in Wyoming that I'm friends with. I hunt their place. Going on 8 years, watch their boys grow up. Went there and killed a buck every year on their ground, great ground up around north of Hewlett. And blue tongue came and wiped out the whitetail. So I went to looking for new ground, and it's my hobby. That's my hobby. I do seminars on do-it-yourself trips.
Oh wow!
I was going to ask, if you're not in size we know, I was going to say, if you had to pick a state that deer hunting, what's your favorite?
It'd be, give me 3.
Okay.
Top 3. You want drum roll?
All right, I'll do the drum roll first. I'm going to go with Wyoming and South Dakota and Montana.
Oh, there's a couple you don't hear about.
South Dakota is a sleeper state. They're a sleeper state. They got big whitetails. They got big mule deer. It's just beautiful there. Pheasants. I have a friend of mine who's got a big pheasant operation and cattle ranch there. I got a new place I'm going in Wyoming this year. Kind of excited about that. Matter of fact, taking a trip in September. I surprised my girlfriend Karen for her birthday. So I'm working 9/11. That day, her birthday. But anyways, we're gonna fly out. We always go out west in the fall, and I'm hunting, so I don't really get to enjoy the. We do it, and I tell guys all the time. I get up subject here. Take your wife and girlfriend on a hunt trip. It's a little vacation for them. They get happy. You get 1 and you go for 2, and you go for 3, and that's how you do it. I'm telling you. Anyways, I go. So what I do every hunt I go on, I tell Karen I've got a day or so to whatever you want to do. I'll go to the shopping mall, I'll go whatever. You want to go find a place to sip wine or whatever, I'm your guy. Happy girl, happy life.
That's pretty good advice.
So I said, we're going to go out west. I said, I had some points in my Southwest enough to get free tickets to fly to Denver. And she's like, what are we going to do out there? I go, I go to Estes Park. The rut's going to be on in September. Bulls will be bugling. They get that town that you can't hunt them there, and their bulls will be walking around. They're kind of cool. And I go, you know what? 3 hours north of there is a little town called Glendale, Wyoming. She goes, where have I heard that? I go, that's where my ranch I'm going to hunt this fall is. And I go check my trail cameras. So the truth came out. But she's good with that.
Hey man, ain't nothing. Hey, work smarter, not harder.
She is my world. That girl, I mean, she'll lay in the snow. I started on a towel. I was putting her towel. She got like a nice little pad thing. She gets down and takes all my pictures.
Yeah.
Blizzarding out, whatever.
That's awesome. Now, does she do any of the, like, filming any of your hunts?
No. She won't get up early. She's not a big fan of the cold, not a fan of getting up early.
Gotta draw that line somewhere, right?
But she takes good pictures, and when I get back to the Airbnb or whatever, she'll have supper ready. When I go out west, when I'm there, love to hunt. I'm also filming for the show. So I owe it to my sponsors to get the job done. So I'd love to come in and take a nap and lay on the couch or whatever, but so I go at it hard. And last year was one of my best years. I did 4 states, killed 4 nice bucks on film. The year before was one of those years that Mother Nature needed. The weather was terrible, the deer was tough.
I've had some years like that.
I mean, I killed 2 deer. I ended up staying an extra 2 days, extra day. She had to get home to fly out to visit relatives, and I told her we'd be home, and I'm like, she said, if you don't mind driving through the night, you can stay an extra day. I'm like, I'm going to stay an extra day. Woke up, blizzarding out in South Dakota. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Light up at noon, I got in the tree stand, and I shot a buck last hour of daylight. And it was I had a bigger smile on my face than I would have if I didn't have that deer. I killed a good deer in Wyoming, but I mean, I struggled. I mean, 2 of my spots got hit with blue top dead. Epizootic hemorrhagic DHC. Put her herd on the plate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We hunted a spot in Illinois, and we got to the farmer was just telling us he's literally finding dozens of deer in the comments and stuff.
Did you hunt last year in Illinois?
No, this was
yeah, they got
2013, 14, 15.
I've been to Illinois in a few. I'm going back this fall.
Yeah.
Haven't been in a while.
Now, do you brought up the filming thing. Do you do all of your own filming, or do you have a camera?
We all self-film. All our guys self-film. I mean, once in a while, if like you and I were hunting, or Shawn and I were hunting, and I tagged out, or like I'll hop in and film. I don't want someone to mess up my hunt for me. I'm mostly, if I'm going to ruin a hunt by making a noise or doing something wrong, I want it to be on me, not on you. And then when we first started out, we didn't have the money to pay a cameraman for the show. And we had, and like I said, we started with on one network with a sponsor. Our money, all the money we had went to pay our editor. And they gave me a little bit of money towards my travel, and that was it. And so we all learned to self-film. Now it's like not that big of a deal. It's a little harder with a bow season.
Yeah.
If I filmed turkey, antelope, mule deer, whitetail.
Is there a certain camera you prefer?
No. I had a big name here. I have a Sony. I'm looking at a Canon. It's got a little bit better zoom, but the cost of cameras hasn't gone down much. I'm just taking a gamble. I mean, last year it hit in South Dakota. I'm in my opening day of rifle season, West River, and it was 1 degree below zero without the wind. And I got in the blind, and the rancher had a little heater there, and I turned that heater on there and take the edge off, right? And the wind would blow a little bit, and we watched these 3 whitetails. My buddy was with me. He went some mule deer. I want a whitetail. I mean, I shot a big mule deer there, so I was good. And we watched these 3 whitetail bucks the night before going out. And I go, man, they're going to come right by me, I bet. And one was a giant. That one was okay. They're all good. And next morning comes and I look out and I'm watching them off the fence road. I'm watching the binoculars and watching them. And they're on the wrong side of the fence.
Oh man.
And I'm like, they crossed 140, 50 yards from me. And then the one, I'm sitting there watching them and a doe come out in front of me. And that last buck like looking at her, and she's looking at him. I'm like, no, I don't want you. I want your brother, the big guy. And he stood there and he's on there's that fence and it's gonna be on air this year. He's standing there looking at her, and another buck comes up, the little one likes her, and they're looking at each other. I'm like, don't do it, because I don't want to shoot you, but I'm gonna. It's cold, and I don't want to shoot you. When you have the fence, I'm like, looked at my phone. It was literally 3-4 minutes real shooting time, and I'm like, okay. I've already killed a buck in Montana and killed in Wyoming. I'm like, I'm on a roll here. I'm not gonna. And I got a couple more days to hunt, and I lit him up. Boom, shot him. My buddy texted me, goes, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, I couldn't hold out. I love shooting whitetail. He was, in one mistake made though. I was looking at his right side, and his left side, I didn't realize he had broke off his G2 and broke his brow.
Oh man.
So it's sometimes you get caught up in the moment, but it's funny. And that's why I'm not that guy that's got to shoot the biggest, baddest buck. I like the deer. I like to tell the story.
Yeah.
If it gets you excited, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll show you. I mean, I know that your podcast can't see it. I'll show you folks it.
You know, while he's looking at that, you know, one of the things that I liked about, Tim and his show is that, and even the seminar that he's been doing this weekend, he hands out some very common sense tips. Tim seems like a very down-to-earth guy. Like I said, he's just kind of one of us. But I don't even know how you even talk about that. But it just really resonated with me, and I think it'll probably resonate with a lot of our listeners out there. Just a simple common sense tips. Like one that you said yesterday that I really liked was, every now and then on the game cameras, hey, just turn your game camera 180 degrees. If you're not getting before you give up on that spot.
Yeah, sometimes because you think it's a great spot doesn't mean the deer does.
Yeah.
that's just trial and error. And like I said, I tell everybody, I'm no perfect person. I mean, I went to a lot of seminars to.
How do you want it? You want your face in it, their face in it.
But yeah, so. It happened to me the other year. I had a camera on the edge of the field, and I went to check it, and I mean, literally 10 feet behind the camera, there was probably about a 4-inch tree that was just torn to pieces. And just to know that buck was so close to that camera, but I never got a shot at it. Never had any idea what did it.
It's the whole, like I said, I tell people in my seminar that if I can give you one or two things in this 45-minute Virginia seminar to make your life or your season look better for you, I did my job. I mean, because I could go up, like I told people today, I could talk about hunting early season, late season, hunting the rut, muzzle, whatever. And you know what's going to happen to most 95% of the people in that seminar? Come fall, they're going to do the same darn thing they've been doing the last 20 years. So I thought I'm going to do something different, and that's when I said I'm going to try to do something that our sponsors of the TV show took a chance with us. I'm going to give them some exposure and talk about the product, which you don't see much of. And everybody's got a trail camera these days.
Yeah. Another tip he did, I saw this one on the show, one of the segments where you were talking about you were shooting your bow, and you're like, hey, go out there and shoot at dusk, because more than likely that last night of the year, that's when you're going to be shooting. So last week I went out and did that several times. I'm like, what a great idea.
That episode on Fairdyne is one of our sponsors, and Fairdyne's a mother company over Rage, Muzzy, IQ, Black, Glendale, True Fire, there's a whole bunch of them. And so we tried to go in there. I did that video for them, and it went, to go viral, but they got 8,000 views in less than a week. And just that little tip I did.
Yeah. No, like I said, it's just common sense, but it's so easy to get caught up into everything else that sometimes you just forget those basics, you know?
You take, I had an archery course I ran for years, and I would set shots up where maybe off of a creek bank, shooting down into the creek, but elevation change on it too. And that right there would just change it. People don't realize how much difference that makes.
We practice out. If you watch one of our episodes I did last year, I live on a dead-end road, right? So everybody's going to say, what are you doing on the road? I live on the second house on a dead-end road. So I have my Millennium chair, that is the best chair in the world, why? And I'm shooting that seated at my target, and I took a target, you know, like the, whatever, who makes the target, turkey target, excuse me. And I use it for, I was going out to South Dakota to bow hunt. I was doing a gun and bow hunt. And so I practiced shooting seated, and it's a little different. I mean, you don't have you got to have more muscle retention for drawing that bow. And a lot of guys, a lot of my friends are going to turn their nose up if they ever hear this. A lot of guys don't get out there enough and do it. I try to do July 4th is when I really start. I want to go out there, but you don't have to shoot 30 arrows or whatever. It takes me longer to get my block target out, get my bow out, and I shoot broadheads. Once my bow's set up, I shoot broadheads. I mean, yeah, unless I go to my friend's house, I want to tear your target up. I let them get dulled up. I shoot broadheads for practice, so I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And I shoot 6-8 arrows up the bow way, no matter if I did good or bad. First shot's the most important. You only get one chance.
That's right. That's right. Now, do you, as you know, July 4th, you're shooting 6-8 shots. You know, September 4th, are you still shooting 6-8
Yep.
shots?
I mean, once in a while, it's cool weather out, and then usually in September, a lot of times I'll put on a jacket that I'm kind of not so maybe hunting with that we're scent locked, just because it's different. You know, when you're out there with like right now in a t-shirt, your shorts on, flip flops, nothing in your way. You put on that, jacket might be a little bit bulky, might a little bit big on you, whatever.
I always,
strength.
yeah, I mean that's a good point. I struggle with how the release, how it wraps around your wrist, but when you have the gloves on, it's a total different feel.
I never wear a
I
glove.
used to hunt these Virginia winters, and I was Saskatchewan hunting deer forelights. That bow, I was not used. I wasn't prepared for that bow. Let's just say that.
Yeah. When you mentioned a glove, I've never wore a glove with my release. I get those. There's a couple different brands. They have 24-hour hand warmers. They're good for 24 hours. Those big packs. I buy them a box of them. I keep one in each hand, in each pocket. Or sometimes I get a muff. If I'm up in Canada, I can get little muffs, keep my hands in there. I vary, even during rifle season, I might have my left one and my right-handed. I might have a glove in my left hand, but my right hand never has a glove.
Unfortunately, here in Virginia and North Carolina, we don't need the gloves for temperature. We need them to keep the mosquitoes off.
I don't know. Chiggers.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you guys do that. I don't. It's funny when I told you about when I did the live hunt for Realtree. I was in Kansas and I was out warm Kansas day. I'm on the edge of this pond thinking the deer can get a drink, whatever, and the rut was on. And I didn't have a thermos out. And the mosquitoes were eating me alive, so finally I got one. And I remember I sent a text message out, just killed me. And it went crazy on the forums. They posted, hey, Tim just killed one, he's in Kansas, killed one, and all these people sending things in. And I went set back, oh, by the way, it was mosquito. They remembered that for years on there.
Oh man.
The heat that I've hunted early season in Kansas when it's been 95 degrees out, almost water season. I've been out mule deer hunting, it's been 90 degrees out. I don't like it.
No, well, we don't either, but we just don't. Early season, we don't have a lot of choice.
It comes in September, early bow season. And they're still in the bachelor groups, but getting out there with that heat, mosquitoes and all that.
You got to get that field dress quick.
Oh, absolutely. Now, speaking of which, have you ever hunted in Virginia or North Carolina?
I have not. I've looked at Virginia for turkey one time. I had a friend of mine went there and had a ball for turkey hunting. I did an event for Realtree years ago, and I got introduced, and I don't know how it is, and it's still a big no-no. But they were showing me how they hunt with dogs. and I thought that was kind of cool. They showed some of the pictures of the buck they killed. That looked pretty neat. It's like running beagles for cottontails, but you got horns on them.
Yeah.
To Carolina, I have one thing on the back of my mind: those big coastal bears they've been shooting there. I'd love to go try that.
Well, awesome. You know, I think not that I'm any kind of an official ambassador for either state, but you know, we would love to have you down here. You know, I think you would enjoy the outdoors. Virginia and Carolina, those states have a lot of great natural resources to enjoy. Even fishing, turkey hunting is phenomenal down here. So anytime, you know, I wish I could say I could hook you up, and if there's a way, I will. But you know,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I think we're getting to a good point to kind of wrap it up. Shawn, do you have anything?
What did you hunt at in Canada? I'm curious now too. I was out of break and I saw Nick.
Big bucks?
I saw he hunted there before I went.
I hunted twice on the Indian Reserve. One up in Meadow Lake. One was over on eastern Saskatchewan. And then I got one more place. What was it? Two of that. Twice. I take that back. I had one over. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I'm ready to get that. Mike posted pictures of it on our video at the office. Actually picking on me about it.
That's got close to Boner right there. Yeah, they're
One more year, Shawn. You needed one more year.
yeah, I love. I mean, I've hunted I think like 5 provinces in Canada. I hunted moose in Newfoundland, which is pretty
I would
fun.
love to do that.
That is pretty cool. You don't realize how big they are until you walk up to them. And then me being kind of like, you know, I want the whole experience. I said, I'm going to do it all. So I gutted my own moose. And then where he fell was on a knoll, and they had like a wagon. It was J5, like logging machine. They pulled his wagon, and we all grabbed his legs, and just flopped him. He slid right on the wagon. Took him back to lodge, and my buddy was with me. And I see all they call them newfies, the guys from Newfoundland, newfies. We're all walking back, the guys. I'm like, hey, you gonna do that moose a little bit, or what are you guys doing? He goes, no, your buddy Mark says you and him are gonna do it. But I laughed. I said, oh, I don't think so. He goes, nah, he's sharpening his knife right now. And I went over there, and Mark goes, all it is a big deer. And I'm like, have you looked at this thing? And the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine what it's like to drag one of those out of the woods.
We was on a wagon. We did it right there. We took off the hindquarters, and I mean, the hindquarters probably weighed 100. I don't know what they weighed, 125 pounds, and it's like almost a one whitetail. You're over there when it hung off. We did it. It was all done. I'll never forget. The back straps were like this big around. I'm holding them up there. I'm like, and it wasn't a monster bull moose, which I couldn't say, but it wasn't. It was my first, and I was happy to heck with it. We ended up with 390 pounds. We all boned it all out. Everything. I did everything. 390 pounds boned out meat out of it.
Holy moly.
He's down there straight.
Oh, man.
It is the, I don't want to say the best, but it's right there. Moose and caribou are my favorite eagle.
Oh, wow. That's good. I've never had moose.
I never shot a caribou. I've had people give it to me, and it's on that's my bucket list. Everybody's like, you know, really? I'm like, there's just something about, you know, caribou.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, man, we can't thank you enough for coming over here, joining us today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit again. I can't say enough good things about.
I'm sorry to take up all your time here. I talk forever. That's something I get the gap.
Oh, man. No, we appreciate you spending the time with us. We know you're busy, and you know, we wish you luck on your upcoming season.
Thank you. Same to you guys.
And real quick, if you want to, you know, tell everybody where they can find you.
It's easy. I mean, our show, our regional show, and our national show are the same. Same content. It's just a different set of sponsors. Because Billy Bob's and Marina, we have a regional show, we care less about it being a national show if someone in Utah watching it. So we have 2 sets of sponsors. But the best way to, if you don't have the Pursuit channel, go to rushoutdoors.com. Scroll down the bottom and you'll see the past 5 or 6 seasons. You can watch right on your phone, on your laptop. Watch it right there and enjoy it.
That's what I've been doing, so it works. And once you start watching them, you just keep
I mean,
rolling.
like I
into the
said, give
next
us a
episode.
like. I mean, if you follow, I mean, you can find me on Facebook. I don't have a, I don't know what they call it, a professional page. I don't have a regular page. Give me a like on there. Follow me on Instagram. I mean, if you need anything, you want to know anything, I might either tell you a lie or tell you the truth. Thanks.
Well, we'll hope to, you and I talked about maybe doing a follow-up episode. Obviously, it would be a Zoom or something like that.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I look forward to staying in touch. And again, thank you so much for
Thank
the
you, sir.
time.
Appreciate it.
All right, Sean, give him that tagline.
We out.
We out. All right, baby. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.